thank all of you for your attention this week and for your willingness to engage in these serious topics. We're going to finish it out today. And I'm really looking forward to today's message. She's been working hard on it for a while now. But really, one of the people I've respected most that I've ever known to speak to these complicated issues is going to share with us today. Someone who takes it incredibly serious, but someone who also is approachable about it. Someone who's willing to have the hard conversations. And she spent a considerable amount of time considering what needs to be said today and really taking a message from God for us. And so let's welcome today Mrs. Lindsey Eckert.
When I first saw the Me Too movement on Twitter, I thought about a lot of you. I thought about those of you that I know who have already shared your stories, and my mind quickly went to those of you who I know weren't ready to stand up and speak out yet. And I thought of you because I am one of you. 23 years later, I still have a hard time saying it. Me too. I've heard many students say that they were glad that we were talking about this, but even so, it is really tough. It's tough because we see how sex has gone wrong for so many of us, and it's been used to hurt us. Some of us have unknowingly hurt somebody else. Levi and Sierra shared earlier this week that this is a community topic. We can all play a role in improving this epidemic. It's not just an epidemic of rape, which does exist. It's also an epidemic of unhealthy sexual beliefs and attitudes. I'm going to give you the disclaimer that I do not have all the answers, but I do have some questions for you to think about. These are a couple of the questions that I have worked through in my life and that have really helped me to heal, and I'm hoping that they can help us all. My first question is, are you using sex as a way to improve your self-esteem or your self-worth? Our sexual attitudes begin with how we feel about ourselves. We either accept or we reject someone else's voice defining our own self-worth based off of the voices that we have already spoken to ourselves. One of the most hurtful things that we experience is when someone else confirms the worst of what we think about ourselves. As humans, we have very limited information, and oftentimes we get stuck on what we can see. And there's a lot of messages out there in this world that tell us who we should be and what we should think and how we should feel. A lot of those messages are just an attempt to sell us something. Some of the things that I hear every single day are things about, well, I should wear this outfit so that I can grab that person's attention. Or maybe I should post this on social media so that this person will kind of tell me how attractive I am. Maybe I should use these types of words so that somebody will think that I'm sexy. The trap here is that we are not staying true to ourselves. We're baiting another person with what we want them to think and feel about us. In doing so, we place our value in the hands of the created and not in our Creator. Our worth is defined by their acceptance or their rejection. I want to encourage you, do not hand over your self-worth to someone who has no interest in everything that makes you valuable. Each of us is a collection of our experiences. Our sexual experiences help shape and form who we are and who we will become. The way we feel about ourselves is brought into every relationship that we have with others. And no one can fix that but us. Having sex to feel accepted will not increase your value. Your value has already been given to you. You were born more valuable than all of the riches that this world has to offer. Sam addressed this issue of being able to see the image of God in other people. We cannot fail to see the image of God in ourselves and then believe that we will be able to see it in other people. My next question is, are you having sex with somebody so that they will love you? Sex shouldn't be used as a way to gain love. If you are using it to keep somebody interested in you, you've been reduced down to a one-dimensional individual. You've stripped yourself of your full self-worth. You have accepted the lie that the best that I have to offer boils down to be an object someone else may use to gratify their desires. If somebody makes you feel that this is how you can gain their love, they've already objectified you. Objectifying means that we take the human qualities away from something and we turn it into an object. Objects are used for our purposes. We don't give back to our objects, and it's not a reciprocal relationship. We use these objects and then we discard them when they are no longer of value to us. When you refuse to be diminished in this way, you will refuse to be used in this way. Love cannot be won through sex. Do you know the difference between sex and intimacy? Sex does not create intimacy, and it does not guarantee you a commitment. If you do not trust somebody outside of a sexual relationship, I would encourage you, do not trust them in one. If we have sought this type of relationship, looking to fill our need to be seen and to be known, we are left deeply wounded. Oftentimes we can confuse intimacy with sex. Intimacy is this deep need that we all have, and sex certainly can be one way to fill that need, but on a deeper level, each of us wants to feel known. We want to feel that people see our authentic self, and that with all of our scrapes and bruises, they can see through all of that to the heart of what makes us who we are. True intimacy is laying bare with somebody emotionally and not physically. Putting your goals and your ambitions and your hopes and your desires and the things that you feel that might be failures in your life, that is terrifying. The one that sticks around when you're down in the dirt and who is willing to get messy with you, that's the one who's offering you intimacy. Sex is a very cheap replacement for that kind of loyalty. Tons of people are going to cheer you on when you're successful and they'll be in your corner, but you really need to consider who is it that's going to quietly whisper the words of affirmation to you when you are really down, when life has kicked you over and over and over again. What we crave is intimacy, and it's hard to come by, so oftentimes sex takes its place. And it leaves us feeling isolated and alone and unsupported and unfulfilled. Do you know what your sexual boundaries are? And do you respect the sexual boundaries of other people? You need to know your worth, and you need to set your boundaries before beginning a relationship with somebody else. If they push, if they negotiate, if they try to manipulate your boundaries, then they are failing to respect you. Boundaries in our lives are really important, and strong boundaries are going to show what's my responsibility and what's your responsibility. Your sexual experiences should be your choices. Some of us have always chosen our sexual experiences. We've decided who we will engage with, how often, what kind of meaning we want to place on that type of a relationship, and we may have chosen well, and others may have chosen very poorly. Many of us haven't chosen at all. Many in this room have been forced into a sexual encounter or many sexual encounters that are unwanted and they are unwelcome. And for some, it has not always been this clear. We know that we've been hurt, and maybe our eyes are being opened to how we've been misguided. Some of us have been the ones who have mistreated and who have abused others with our distorted sexual ideals. I would guess that there are plenty of us in this room who have been abused and who have gone on to abuse others because it's the path that we know. We are bound to repeat what we do not repair. We went into this week with the intent to open up a conversation about a very complex topic. The intention was not to point the finger or to place blame, but to do the exact opposite. We want to offer hope. We want to lay a foundation of community and to stand together and acknowledge that we are all in this together. I stand here today, and what I would like you to see is that you will overcome these demons. These problems will not define you. Our shame will grow in the dark. Shame tells us that we're unworthy, that we are the worst of what we have done or what has been done to us, that we are one-dimensional objects who are undeserving of the full capacity of what this human experience can offer us. This is why we cannot shy away from talking about the difficult things and shedding light on them. Things are not so scary when we allow the light to touch every dark place in life, and we no longer need to go through these things alone. This week is meant to offer us hope as the same way that the light offers a break from the dark. We can start to see things more clearly, and hopefully what you are going to see this week is an entire campus full of people your peers, students, faculty, staff, all of them who are willing to support you and who are going to listen to you no matter what that topic is. I know a lot of us are afraid. I know a lot of our guys are afraid that somebody will accuse them of harassment or sexual assault when they would never intend to harm anybody. I know a lot of our girls have either already been assaulted or they fear that they will be. Going to our separate corners and taking up all of our defenses is not going to help us. I know that this problem is a big one. I know it's overwhelming and it's emotional and it's tough for us to get through, but it's not too big for us to handle. Some of the men on this campus are some of the best men that I have ever met in my entire life. They're going to be the most amazing husbands and the most amazing fathers. Some of you already are. They're going to be phenomenal coworkers and wonderful friends. Our ladies are not any different. They are talented, they are bright, and they are going to be a force in this changing world. I want us to take a leap of faith together. I want us to begin by saying that we can improve this problem by honoring what's best for those around us. Be willing to ask these tough questions. Ask it of yourself, ask it of others. I want you to hear the raw and the real and the honest answers. Listen without judgment to the trials that have been experienced and the fears that exist, and as a community, let's stand together and let's fight for a campus that values one another and that offers safety and respect and most of all, hope for every single one of us. Thank you.
We are not finished. We're not completed this conversation. And thank you again, Mrs. Eckert. Thank you to the other speakers that have shared this week. Thank you to the many ones of you that have raised questions and brought up conversations. But as I've thought through this week, I just want to briefly end with just 2 points. So if you can just listen just a little while longer. Number 1. What we attempt to do here at York College is not to ruin your life or to place such boundaries on your life that you do not feel any sense of freedom or self-worth. If you believe that, I'm sorry. We don't believe in the things that we believe in. The fact that, our very policies itself say that we honor sex as something that rightfully takes place in the context of a healthy marriage. We believe that. Many of you do not. I know that. Many of you halfway believe it and want to experience some other things, but here's just a little bit of reality for you this morning. When sex and sexual acts enter into a relationship, it changes the relationship in ways that we would have never expected. Now imagine when that happens, when I bring my baggage and you bring your baggage, and there's very little commitment there. It's toxic. It's not healthy. The ramifications are too much to deal with. And so we enter in a systemic issue that we have to step back and say, these things are sicknesses, the way we're treating each other. And so we hold up sex as something that should be talked about, our bodies as something that should be talked about, something that should be honored, something that should be valued, but we do it in a way that we honor the image of God in each other, and that's why I wanted to start the week with that conversation. You are made in the image of God. Believe that fully and deeply. But when we seek to honor that image, our relationships change drastically. And there's nothing else that can replace that. Number 2, second thing I want to say at the end of this week. I am sorry if sexual acts in your life have caused you what seemingly is irreparable harm. I am sorry for those of you that have been mistreated. I am sorry for those of you that have mistreated others. But God is not finished with you. Even when the room is dark and you can't see any sense of light, God is not finished with you. You are not so broken that you're not repairable. You are not so broken that other people can't enter into your life and bring you to a different place. You are not there. I don't care what's happened to you. You are not some damaged piece of equipment, but you are someone who's been made in the image of God. There is a different way available. We're going to continue these conversations. Maybe not so much here in chapel the rest of the semester, but there will be ample opportunities for this to continue. But as I said yesterday, please seek someone you trust on campus to show you a different way if that's what you need. If you've made mistakes, if you've been mistreated, it doesn't matter. Find someone who can walk with you through that darkness. You are not alone. Let's close out in prayer. Our God, we are grateful for what you continue to do in our lives, even when we are broken. Even when that brokenness is not of our own decision making, but is the decision of others. Father, again, as I prayed yesterday, I would ask that you heal us. May we see in ourselves, in our bodies, in the bodies of others, may we see your image, and may we live in a way that honors that. I'm so grateful for the voices that have shared this week, for Levi, for Sierra, for Lindsey. And I'm so grateful for the voices that are being shared across campus in so many different contexts. And I just pray that those voices would seek wisdom from you, and seek wisdom from those who are seeking you. Because without you, we are destructive, we are selfish, and we ruin lives, even when we don't know it. So God, may we seek you. May your grace and mercy rain down on us. May you honor our decisions to seek you better. May you honor our decisions to be empowered by you and to find a different way of life. For those that are hurting, may they find relief. May they find your peace, which only occurs through your Son. And it's in his name that we pray. Amen. Go with God.